back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys, so I'm here today to do a video which I wanted to make for a while. I just haven't had the chance to sit down and actually do it. And then when I did start to sit down and do it, I realised it needed to be 2 videos. And what I mean by that is this video is going to be a list of all the authors who are my auto-buy authors, aka if I hear that they have a new book coming out, I will instantly buy it. No questions asked, like definitely going to buy that author's book because I love them so much. Then when I started doing this, I realised there were 2 sets of authors. There was the authors that I was fully caught up on, absolutely love everything they've written, really, really enjoy them. Then there's also the authors who I class as my favourites. I say that I love their work, and yet they have a large backlist that I've not read yet. So I've divided them out into 2 videos. This video is going to be talking about the authors that I love. I've read their work, I love them, I consider them one of my faves of all time. And I've read pretty much everything that they've brought out. I am kind of excluding like tiny novellas, short stories, that kind of thing, but like all their main novels, I've read them. And then the other video, which you'll see soon after this, is going to be all the authors that I consider my favourites, but I'm not caught up on, and maybe I need to go back and read some of their other things and confirm whether they really are my favourites or not for all their series. So let's get started. That was a long intro, but basically what I'm going to do today is tell you about the authors who are my auto-buy authors and the ones that I love and have read pretty much everything by. So the first one is obviously Robin Hobb. Now, I haven't read every single short story she's ever released, but besides that, I've read all of her books and I love them all. I've read the Soldier Son series and I've also read The Realm of the Elderlings. Now, The Realm of the Elderlings, you guys know, absolute #1 favourite of all time. Cannot get enough of her work. If Robin Hobb ever decides to bring out new works in that world, any other world, under the Robin Hobb pen name, I will read them. Now, I will say that Robin Hobb is also known as Megan Lindholm. She also publishes under that name. I have not read all the Megan Lindholm work, and that is because she publishes these 2 different names for 2 different styles of fantasy. Her Robin Hobb name is a lot more sort of epic fantasy, and the Megan Lindholm is a little less epic, a little bit more urban inspired, a little bit more kind of quirky fantasy. I've read a few Megan Lindholms, but I've not read that many. And I don't know that I really am super compelled to read more Megan Lindholm work, but I do love her Robin Hobb stuff and I highly recommend it. If you've not already seen it, please check out some of my videos about her stuff. I love her. There's plenty on my channel. She's obviously an auto-buy author for me. Probably guessed that one, so let's go on to some maybe you haven't guessed. Next up would be Emma Newman. Now, I've read loads of Emma Newman works. I love her Planetfall series. I also really love her Split World series, so she writes in sci-fi and fantasy. She's also done some short stories, some of which I've read. By Tor, I think they were published, and I really enjoy what she does. I also just love her as a person. She is just so sweet whenever I've been in the same place as her at panels, conventions, book clubs, that kind of thing. She is such a sweet and lovely, kind woman, and I really enjoy the way that she talks about the world, not only in her books but in actual real life meetings. I think she is just an incredibly intelligent, wonderful person, and I've actually met both her and Robin Hobb in person. Robin Hobb super briefly, but I've seen her on panels, and then Emma I've seen a little bit more often at conventions and stuff. Don't worry, they still wouldn't know who I am because I'm not very good at actually going up to authors and being like, I love your work. I wish I was better at that. If anyone has any tips, let me know. But yeah, I do love their work. I think they are both incredible female writers of sci-fi and fantasy, and they're both doing fantastic things. Robin Hobb started a lot earlier than Emma, of course, but I still think they both write absolutely exceptional fantasy, both with really heartfelt, emotional stories behind the fantastic excitement of the fantasy or sci-fi, and I just really highly recommend them. Again, I have done reviews of pretty much all of Emma's stuff on my channel as well, I think, so I'll try and link some of the videos below if you guys are interested in getting a bit more info about them, but suffice to say they are absolute faves for me. Ken Liu is obviously another favourite. I've read all of his works, including his short story collections, which I do highly recommend. I don't love short stories generally, but his I think are really, really good. So I highly recommend all of those. But for me, of course, it's his real big epic Dandelion Dynasty series that is the one that I have in my heart. I'm currently reading the very last one in the series. I'm like quarter of the way through. It was time to start it and finish the series, and I'm loving it, of course. So I'm hopeful that I will love the conclusion to the series, and Ken Liu is always going to be an author where, whether it's a short story collection or whether it's an actual novel, I'm going to be buying his books straight away. Next up, I have Brent Weeks. I didn't love the Night Angel series as much as I love his Lightbringer series, but I really enjoyed it when I read it many, many years ago. And then, yeah, the Lightbringer series really solidified his place as a firm favourite for me. I love his works, especially his adult fantasy. I just think he really does complex worlds and very exciting ones. I believe he's actually got a new book coming out soon, so I'm super excited about that. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a Brent Weeks release, so I'm very, very keen to dive back into his work very soon. Again, I have done reviews on my channel. Next up, I have Chris Wooding. Now, I've not read all of Chris's work, so maybe he doesn't fully count, but I have read all his adult works. He's actually published a lot of children's or YA books, which I'm not super interested in, but I love his adult stuff. I think the Ketty J series is kind of YA adult, borderline. But then his newer series, I've absolutely adored. And I think the next one comes out early next year. So I'm very excited to get back to that world because it's been quite a long time between book 1 and book 2. So I really hope the next one comes out soon because I loved the first one and I just think it's going to be great. It was a big epic. I've also read the Braided Path series by him. So I've read quite a lot of his books and I've enjoyed them all to some extent, but particularly the newest series he's working on, I'm excited for the next. Next up, I have Jessica Townsend. Now, this is a kids series, which is very rare for me to say, but I do love it. It's an absolutely wonderful series called Nevermore that she's publishing, and I think it was her debut series because I don't think she's written anything besides Nevermore, but oh my goodness, it's comparable to how I feel about Harry Potter, just the warmth and the excitement and the love and just the adventure and the fun. It's just so easy to read and so easy to enjoy, and I highly recommend this series and I will always buy more in this series. If she starts any other series, I think I definitely would try them as well. So yeah, very excited by her works in general. Next up, I have Becky Chambers. Now, technically, I haven't read everything by her, but I've read all her novels. I haven't read all her shorts, but I think this counts because I've read almost all her shorts. So yeah, Becky Chambers, she does the Wayfarers series. I believe she is starting a new fresh series very soon, which I'm very excited about because yeah, the Wayfarers series was fantastic, so beautiful, so interesting to look at different points of view around the galaxy, different aliens, different cultures. Love the way that she deals with just easy storytelling in a way that really does make you think still. So I really enjoyed all of her books. They're all standalone, so you can read any of them in any order. And I'm very excited to see what her new projects will be. I can't wait. Next up, I have Peter V. Brett. This is an author that I have definitely loved on the channel. He is certainly an author who writes big epic fantasies, so I love that. And his series are pretty dark and twisty, and I like them a lot. I'm very much enjoying the fact that he's now started a new series in the same world. We've had book 1. I'm excited for book 2. I can't wait to see where it goes. And yes, really, really love his stuff as well and will always buy anything that's adult fantasy that he produces. Next up, I actually have Sebastian de Castell, who I feel like I've not spoken about on the channel for ages, but he wrote the Greatcoat series, which is his only adult fantasy series at the moment, although I know he is releasing a new adult fantasy series soon. And I loved the Greatcoat series. I just thought it was such great sword and sorcery style magic and fun and humour and the banter. He's also got a slightly more YA series, which I enjoyed as well. I've started that one, I haven't finished it, but I enjoyed that too. I don't think that series was quite as much fun for me. So for him, I would say if he brings out adult fantasy, that's when I'm gonna love it and buy it. But he's definitely an auto-buy author when it is adult fantasy for sure. And then the final author on my list for now, because it's ever growing, is Michael J. Sullivan. I love his stuff. I've really enjoyed everything Re-Area and just so much fun in his worlds. He also does sort of sword and sorcery style writing, very easy to get into, very enjoyable books. I always find them very quick to get through, and yet there's always something to love about them. So I really enjoy his stuff, and I have read all of his novels as well. So yeah, he's got a couple short fiction things that I've not read, but most of them are sort of spin-offs of Riera in some way or the other, and I really enjoy his work generally, and I will always buy more from the Riera Chronicles, Revelations, or just generally from series set within the same world, which he's done a few of as well. Very exciting stuff whenever he brings out a new release. So I think that is it. Those are the auto-buy authors that I can claim. I've pretty much read all of their work and I love them. But there are plenty more authors who I call my favourites, but I need to catch up on. So don't forget to check out my next video when that comes out, which will be talking all about the authors I still need to read their backlog, but I love them. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave me your favourite auto-buy author down below, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye everyone!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.